Been in my cupboard for quite some time and unworn this beautiful Hobbs jumper, very long. I used to wear it with black tights and boots, but I need to change it. I want the total length to be 57, so I'm going to go down to 57 and just put a little pin in there. This was my original measurement, the orange one, the pin. I've taken it down a little bit for a bit of extra seam allowance and then measured up 7. This jumper's good because it has a nice row on it, you can see. I want to keep this pale green row, so our cutting point is going to be just below it. This is roughly what it's going to look like at the end lengthwise. You can see it's shaped, so when the rib is cut, the rib will be too wide, but that's no problem. I'll tackle that as we go forward with the project. This is lovely Shetland wool and it won't ladder easily, so I know I can cut it cleanly. It's got 5 stitches per inch, which was the old-fashioned way of measuring. That was called 5 gauge. Means it's quite chunky. You can work that easily. First thing I'm going to do is snip along this line here. So what I don't want to do is cut the black loops, but I also don't want to unpull these little green loops that go through the knitting, because I want to make sure that these loops are kept intact. I'm going to use them to stitch back onto the knitwear. So I'll go all the way across and I'm going to cut up the side. I know I don't need this. I'll sort out the mess on it eventually, but there. So I'll cut the ribs off on both. This is what they look like when they're cut. So we've got them still with these nice green margins on them, which is holding the loops in place. And now we're going to cut the jumper itself. This is the pin indicating where I want to cut. Now I want to keep the green line. I want to keep my loop. And being me, I get anxious about making a mistake. So I'm going to cut 2 stitches, 2 knitted stitches, rows, down from my final row. That's the one I want to keep. That's my loop. And this is my anxiety moment. So I shall cut here and then cut on that same row all the way around the jumper. I'll show you when I'm going to take it off so you can see what it looks like. I'm getting more confident. I can see, because of the pattern, the row I'm following. It could be that I'll have to snip out little half stitches, but there, you can see it cuts very nicely. As I said, this is Shetland, and Shetland is an excellent yarn because it has little hairs all over it and it grabs onto the next loop. So it's very firm stuff to work with. This is also fully fashioned. The rib is fully fashioned. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this surplus bit of each of them. I'll carefully find the stitch that links it. There's that chain stitch again, and unpick it. So I'll do that to all sides. So I've trimmed off the surplus. We've got 2 ribs. This is the side of the rib we want to be on the outside of the garment. So I'm putting, and that is 2. So I'm putting them together and I'm going to, again, back stitch at both ends. So we create a fully, a rib that's in one. You'll see why in a minute. I've decided to change the stitch here. I'm not doing back stitch. I'm just going back and forth. I made a ring out of the rib, so it was complete, and put the seam, equaled it into the seam of the side. Well, that's difficult to explain, but we've got that black strip, so pinned it into the middle there, and then it lay very neatly over to the other side. So I've roughly pinned it. I've secured the thread at the back. You can see where it's secured. I've come through to the front, and now I'm going to catch the loops and again do a back stitch. I could do a chain stitch, but I confess I'm short of yarn. I haven't got the yarn to do that, and I want to get this project finished. So I'm going to go in, come up again, catch the loop there, caught it, remove that little green bit and come to the front. Go back and come up at the loop ahead again. Ooh, be a bit of a fiddle till I've got in practice here. remove that. There we are. Go back one loop and up again. Now I'm lining myself up below that green line, and as I go forward I shall remove my loops. So there we are. I'll do a few more stitches and then show you what it's looking like. So getting into a nice rhythm here. I'm keeping the green bits in until I've finished, and then taking it out because it makes it finding the previous loop more easy. So into the previous loop, up, remove the green, and look at that neat stitching. Finished. I'm really pleased. Look how beautifully that's stitched on. It's worked really well, and that's because this is nice knitting, and it's wool. I think it's Shetland, as I've said, and I don't think I even need to do any more stitching on the back. I mean, I could bind it with a whip stitch or a blanket stitch if I chose, but otherwise I've made a shorter garment, and it's cost me £1.